difficult.
You don't have to be passive aggressive.
I'm not passive.
You're a little passive.
I'm aggressive.
I haven't seen you ever aggressive.
Don't play with me, Brit. Don't play with me.
Have that conversation later.
Really?
You guys
Okay, you're the big bad wolf.
I'm the mighty wolf.
No, you're not. It's a persona. You're really insecure.
Insecure?
Yeah.
I'm insecure?
See
But you want to use my team.
The team that you begged for me to work with because you always need a sidekick, baby. Long story short, Kelly was feeling insecure.
Welcome back to the accent of me. It's Jock. And today, let me tell y'all, I just finished watching this last episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta with these two. And let me tell y'all something. When I tell y'all that this was a very interesting episode. First, let's start off with Shmia. I want to know. This is going to be unpopular opinion. I'm pretty sure it is. And I don't like to put age on things. I would love Shmia only to be a housewife. The singing and I liked her single. Never had. I liked the single. I think it was amazing. I think she sounds so beautiful. I just think the time has passed. And I get it that it may just be because of the exposure of the show that, you know, the streams and things like that. She doesn't need the money. We all know that. She doesn't need the money. And I understand it was something that she always wanted to do, especially being an I believe, cheerleader as well, or dancer for the Atlanta Hawks. I don't want to see her sing. I know that may not be cool for some people, but I don't want to see her sing. I don't want to hear. I think what happened with the baby, I love the backstory of what's going on with her story, with the husband, with her husband, sorry. Her husband, Shiloh, what happened with the nanny, what was absolutely horrible. I love that. I love that glamorous, but down to earth, everybody's my best friend type of vibe. I love that. I think that needs to be a housewife. I just don't need to see her sing. That's it. You know? What was after that? Fedra. I'm cool with Fedra being there. She does. It's like a hit or miss. It's not something that I absolutely think that needs to be done, if I'm being honest. I like her. I like how she's raising those boys. Bravo. She is raising them as young men that are stand up and pushing themselves to another level. And I love that also. Phaedra, I mean, she's coming at the end. We all know I think she's only did 4 episodes, maybe 4, maybe 3. And that's it, which is okay with me. I wasn't expecting to see Phaedra. I love to see the new blood and things like that. Which is totally fine with me also. I don't think we had a lot of Drew Sidora this episode, but I'll get to her later. Moving on to Brit. I'm going to start with her first. Brit is, I think, to be the villain, you have to be a villain, you know, and you really have to be a villain. But you can't play around with being a villain. You've already got Kenya kicked off the show. So being the villain, I think a lot of times people think the villain has to be a mean girl. And Brit definitely, knowing what I know, Brit is acting like the people that she hanging around. I'm going to be honest. And I used to live in Atlanta. And a lot of her stylists and people that they act like that. A lot of them. They act like, sometimes they see you, they know you, sometimes they don't. And you can work directly with them. And they be delusional about so many different things. But that's neither here or there. The way that Brit is kind of trying to counteract this whole thing with her and Kelly, with Portia, when they were sitting on the sofa, it gave such bitter vibes. It gave bitter vibes. It gave that I read the comments. It gave that she never was a girl's girl, if that makes sense. To say some of the things, because a lot of the things that she was saying to Portia about shared text messages between Kelly and Brit about what Portia was saying and things like that, I wouldn't have expected anything less if that's my best friend. You know, and I didn't. I'm surprised Portia didn't clock it at the time. Like, well, she is your best friend at the time. If she's your best friend, if me and her talk about something, that's your girl. Of course, she gonna come to you and say something about it. Why wouldn't she? You know, like there's no loyalty between me and Kelly if I'm Portia, but the loyalty is between Brit and Kelly. So why would Kelly say, "Oh, girl, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what the tea was"? With Portia, she just told me this that I think she said it was her doctor, but it was her therapist. But she said it, but girl, let's kiki. That's the whole point. That's what people do. But to kind of go back and try to throw it back, like you didn't have dialogue in this say as well, as we saw from Kelly saying, you said you would never have Portia in your house. And I'm sure that that's true because Kelly said, why are you still that man husband? I mean, still that woman husband. And I'm sure her and Kelly were friends at the time. Kelly probably thought it was funny. Even though Kelly did say, what did she say? She did say something in the first episode or second episode about what Kelly had said, but you still felt that way. Because I actually agree with Dustin Ross, King Carlos, and Claudia. I do think Britt thought she was coming in on this and she was going to be friends with Kenya. I do think that. It would have matched. They would have ran this season if they would have clicked. But to play this little thing when, in my opinion, I've been in this situation before. That's why I kind of side with Kelly, because Kelly didn't appreciate what Kenya did to you. She brought the lady with the vitamins, and I know this is all the edit. I get that. But she brought the lady with you. She was there for you in these moments, but you weren't there for her because you guys were having some stylist error. Let me say this. Brit is so caught up into Atlanta, like being caught up into that scene of like what's happening in Atlanta and who she's able to rock with. And I say this from a person that used to live in Atlanta for 4 years. Atlanta can really bring you to a point where you're in that crowd and you have the people, you have the stylists. I had people at Jeffrey's. I had people that had my American Express on file buying me shoes and everything. When you get that and you're in this circle, it is a deadly circle. And I don't mean like that. It can be toxic. You can have so many different types of things like happening. You can have so many types of things that's going on. You can be invited to all the parties, all the cool this, all the VIP that. And then the moment that there is a split between you and like the circle or the crew, you immediately get to a point where you're exiled or you're pushed to the side. I did agree with Kelly on one thing. There's a difference between using my stylist and using my hairstylist, using my makeup artist, using this, than just using one person. If I said that they can't work with you, that's just because I worked with them first. There's many, and this is an Atlanta thing. I don't fully agree with her, because when I was in Atlanta, I was met with someone as well that if they work with you, they can't work with me. And I'm like, what? You know, like I didn't understand that. I knew many people that would say, you know, if you're working with him, I want to work with him, but you can't work with both of us at the same time. So I understand this issue. At that time, I was 26, 27 years old as well. I understood it at that time, like, maybe it's just like a exclusivity type of thing. You want to have your own this. You don't want people into your space. This is just Atlanta itself. So I can understand why Kelly felt that way. But these women all being 38, 39 plus, I think, all up in their 40s, that I don't. You know, and I think when they got to the event and being at the event, it said a lot about her character when it came down, when she says your pill popping roommate. Which she said she was trying to say she popped pills. She said your husband popped pills. And I think, was that a low blow for Kelly? Yeah, but I think if you already coming in hot and saying all this and how you gonna be aggressive, and I'm gonna tell you the truth, out of both, I don't think that she is more aggressive than her, because she even told, no, I'm aggressive. and you know it. But I think she knows how to put on if that's what you want to do, we can do it. Trust me, I've had a friend like her that felt like we can get this popping if we want to, and I'm like, that ain't what you want. Trust me, and I'm not even gonna get upset. And I think that was kind of the pettiness that come out when she came out and said the stuff about the abortion and things like that, and she got upset. I think it hit a nerve, but I think she was wrong. I think she's 100% wrong. She's been wrong since Kenya. Let's be honest. 100% honest. She's been wrong since Kenya. And I think just kind of not being there for your friend says a lot. And I think we're going to see in the next episode exactly why she didn't come to the reunion. We're going to see. We're going to see why she did not come to the reunion. Because it's going to make sense. Because I think for you not to come to a reunion and then you come out and you say all of these things, and for the people that's hating on Kelli, I think it's comical. I think it's comical to hate on Kelli and then look at these things and be like, okay, Kelli is the one that's bitter. She's the one that's jealous. And it's like, over a stylist, over a team. And let's be honest, a lot of the times the people in Atlanta don't really be about the bag. Not how they say they be about the bag. Because if anything, I saw the stylist that was styling both of them post onto the internet that she's only where the money is. And everybody knows the first year housewives, they don't make a lot of money. We know that. So the fact that the first year's housewives don't make a lot of money, I don't know what their money looks like, either of them, to be honest. But if we're all going to be honest about something, let's be honest about this. At the end of the day, Kelli coming back. Kelli coming back. And from what I hear from all the housewives, that second year bag is nasty. So why would you settle for somebody that's, and I know at the time the stylist or the makeup artist didn't know, but now you're with the losing team. Something Dustin said or Claudia said was one thing that happened that we must give Kelli the props for. She handled this like a boss. She acts like she owns a business. She saw this sinking ship. She saw that sinking ship with Brit after the Kenya thing, and she slowly removed herself. Said, And let's be honest, who don't talk shit about each other? Who don't? If I came in that group, I'd be talking shit about certain people too. If I didn't know them and I'm with my homegirl, yeah, we finna go ahead key. Let's see what this really about. But if I had to say who's authentically themselves, I would think Kelli. Kelli comes off as she's always like this. Brit doesn't. Brit hasn't shown us anything other than she's been a mean girl. She even said in the beginning she wasn't a girl's girl. She even said that she's like, I'm not really like a girl's girl. I really don't have that many friends. I hang out with my husband. You act like it. You act like it. And I think that's kind of very telling. And lastly, before we get up out of here, Angela. Angela. I'm going to go off on the rip, and I rarely would say this, and I think she's a lovely woman. I definitely think her husband's cheating on her. 100%. There's a lot of things that people play about, but disrespect is not going to be one of them. And I will say this too. I do think that he was respecting Kelli's event. 100% think he was respecting Kelli's event. But I do think that he hurt that man. And I think the constant making up excuses, and again, I know this is it's an edit. The constant excuses that are being made, the constant things that he's saying that kind of like, you're like, what? Why are you saying that? Why you doing that? It kind of is very telling. You know, like you can kind of you could even read through the girls when they kind of be discussing certain things about him or when they trying to be shady, but nobody really understands. Like, wait, what's going on here? I definitely think that's what's happening. I think it's. I think it's not. She said it was something that happened before anyway, so it's not something that it's like new. But I definitely think the way that he acts is like, this my wife. I'm always gonna be here with my wife. This is always gonna be my wife, and that's just what it's gonna be. But I definitely think that he is. One second. I definitely think he is cheating on her. Which I definitely want her to come back for season 2. I hope it don't ruin their marriage though. I definitely want to say that. I hope it don't ruin their marriage, because she said it did. They did deal with this before, so hopefully it's something old that just is old. I wouldn't want to see nobody's marriage end, but it feels like that's what's happening. And the man that went to the Kelly's event, y'all, living in Atlanta, living in Atlanta, when I tell y'all, this is very common. All of this is very common. Ain't none of this new. Atlanta Housewives doesn't even like excite me because I've lived in it. Like, but what he did, that's how quick the word get around Atlanta of like when they filming, where they filming at, what's happening, who's coming to the event. It's a who's type of thing. Everybody knows. I've been to many events with all of the old housewives or loving hip hop or celebrities in general, and you learn to like live amongst them, because I tell people all the time, it's Black Hollywood, but that ain't nothing new. I'll be honest with y'all, it ain't nothing new. But he should. I'm gonna go ahead and get off here because I ain't gonna say nothing else, y'all. But I hope y'all like this video. We're gonna be doing a little bit more. I'm gonna do this episode and next episode and the reunion as well, just to kind of give a different perspective. Because a lot of times I'd be seeing some stuff and I'd be like, where y'all coming from with this, you know? So drop a comment below. What did you feel about the feud between these two? Do you think there's a right or wrong? Do you think they're both in the wrong? Drop a comment and I'll see you guys next time. Nos vemos.